right, let me make sure I'm unmuted. What's going on, everybody? And welcome to tonight's live stream breaking down episode 4 of What If, titled What If Doctor Strange Lost His Heart and Not His Hands. And this is a very Doctor Strange centric episode, which I don't know, the circles there. We're talking some Doctor Strange, obviously, in tonight's episode, but there's been some rumors out there. I wouldn't say leaks, but some rumors that we'll be discussing tonight that might involve his sequel. But nonetheless, listen, this is going to be a fun time because this episode was fire. The news that we'll be talking about is going to be great and really interesting. And I'm just really excited to break it all down with you all. And of course, my amazing co-host, so I'm going to bring in a little bit. But before we do so, if you tuned in for the very first time, welcome to the channel. Hope you all are staying safe out there. There's hurricanes and rains and all that stuff out there, so hope you all are being safe. But if you're able to watch us tonight, I appreciate it. Make sure you're giving the video a thumbs up. That really helps out the algorithm and spread it to all the Marvel, Doctor Strange, MCU fans out there. And also make sure you're sharing the video and commenting in the live chat. We try to, get so many chat questions and theories and all that fun stuff as often as we can. So definitely let's have a fun time tonight. And of course, if you're watching this on the replay, if you can do the same thing, it'll be greatly appreciated. So with all that being said, let me bring in my amazing Avengers of co-hosts here, starting off with someone representing Canada, big fan of hers. She dropped her review of this episode earlier today that I have to check out, but she's always dropping fire content, dropping on her YouTube channel, spreading some good food on her Instagram stories, and also killing it on her website. I'm talking about the one and only Amanda. What's going on?
Oh, you're the best. You give the best intros. I'm great.
I tried.
But first and foremost, you hit 15K, my friend, and you deserve all the good things because you kill it every single day. So thumbs up to you always.
Appreciate
and
it,
I love coming here every week and kicking it with you and Chris and just having fun. So yeah, it's an honor.
Hey, it's an honor that you guys come and join me every single week, and we have such a great time. And thank you so much. Congratulations. But let's talk about you, Amanda. Where can the people find you? What's on the YouTubes? What's the content that you're delivering to these wonderful people out there?
Yeah, well, you guys can always find me with the hot takes over at AMX ND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I just dropped my 2-star review of Candyman on my YouTube channel, so that's going well. Yeah, that was fun. And I just dropped, like Elliot said, my episode 4 review, and I have my Shang-Chi review dropping hopefully tomorrow. So yeah, good stuff. And I'm prepping for TIFF. It's getting crazy. It's starting next week, so I'm going to be MIA a bit, but it's like my little staycation downtown while I watch all of these movies. So yeah.
Very nice, very nice. We're going to talk a little bit about Candyman before we jump into the Marvel stuff, because I don't know if Chris has seen it yet, but we'll talk about that for a little bit. But guys, hey, Amanda's information's in the description of this video. Subscribe to her channel, follow her on Instagram. Like I said, not only is she dropping hot takes, but she gives you some food. She's showing you her life, that she just be killing it out there in Canada, living her best life, which is awesome. But definitely give her a follow, guys. She's an incredible content creator and an even better person. So we got one part of the co-host, and I got to bring in my second guy here representing the East Coast, who's always dropping amazing content, fire content. He has some incredible Instagram stories as well, living his best life there out in New York. And maybe we should call him Captain Carter, or say Captain Chris, because he was whipping a boat this past weekend, and like he knew he was doing too. So bringing in my man Tait. We got Captain Chris. What's going on, man?
What's good? What's good? Made it home in one piece. Everybody was in good hands.
That's good, man. That's good, man. How you been, man? How's life out in New York been treating you?
Everything's good, man. Just happy to be back. I did not get to see Candyman yet. Not because I'm scared, just because I was driving boats and shit.
Busy, man. Yeah, man.
Exactly. So I'm gonna get it in next week. So yeah, but I'm interested to see what this 2 stars are talking about.
It's a very divisive film, man. People love it, people hate it, and everything in between, man. But hey, Candyman. But hey, Chris, if you want to let people know what's going on your YouTube channel and on the Instagrams and all that fun stuff, and when these people can find you.
Yes, excellent. Yeah, my name is Chris Tait. I'm rocking Tait's Take. You can find all the information in the description of this video. I know we got some repeat fans in here that have been showing you love, me love, Amanda love. So shout out to all y'all. We kind of do these little blurbs for the people who don't know us, but I want to give a shout out to the people that do know us, because I think it's insane coming from, you know, not having a channel and people saying, you know, we like the content. So shout out to y'all. If you guys want to contact me, I'm on Instagram at Just Incredible. That stuff is in my bio on my YouTube page, and I'm on Twitter at Tait's Takes. So you guys can let me know what you want to talk about. So yeah, my content is just movie reviews, TV show reviews, trying to give you a little background on the content, and then just let you know what I think about it, let you guys know if it's worth your time. But that being said, huge, ginormous, enormous, incredible shout out to 15K, because by the time this video come out, we probably be at 20K, so we might just keep the live going. But no, that's dope. You were inspiration to a lot of us, so we following your footsteps, just how you follow the people that inspire you. So that's the name of the game. So keep it going. And for anyone out there that's doing YouTube, that 15K, it might seem like a big number, but you can do it. If you got 0 subscribers, you get that first subscriber. That's all you need. One goes after another. So, just keep grinding and just keep doing the stuff and enjoying it. It's really about the process, not about the number. So, yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself. First and foremost, thank you, Chris, and a continuation on your channel as well as Amanda. You guys are killing it as well. But to Chris's point, guys, not to go on a little side tangent here, but just keep pushing. Keep the grind going, do stuff you love doing, meet people you love that have, like-minded individuals and stuff like that. And just keep pushing, man. But yeah, you guys, this is the live stream. And so this is like, I always look forward to this because these two people are incredible and the chat's incredible. And we have so many great discussions. So I'm really excited to dive into it tonight. But quick shout out to everyone that's joining us. We got CG in the building showing some love, saying what's up to Chris and Amanda and Rims and everyone in the community. We appreciate you, CG, and I'm glad you're here tonight, my friend. We got my man Michael, who before I went live, I saw he was like stuck in his car because it was like raining super bad. He's still able to show some love with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Hope you're doing safe. Hope you have a safe time at work tonight. If I was you, man, I would call off. Be like, hey, it's a hurricane outside. Have you not been outside?
Don't encourage that. Don't encourage that behavior.
Right. But nonetheless, Michael, man, my friend, hope you're being safe, man. But again, to the super chat, I haven't seen the episode yet. Okay. We'll definitely check it out because I want to know what you thought about it. But just want to throw this in for the support. Have a great stream, everyone. Hit that thumbs up. As he said, do it. But I appreciate it, Michael. And thank you so much, man. And again, be safe out there, my friend. We got Tim in the chat. We got another $5. I didn't even notice. Michael, man, you're killing it, man. Thank you so much. Oh, and congrats.
That's why he can't call out.
That's why he can't call. Exactly. He got to get the bread. And I saw, too, not to get too much into his business, but he bought this really awesome Galactus toy, which I know wasn't cheap. So I know that he is definitely a big spender for sure. And I appreciate him showing some love and support. But he says, thank you for the 15K. Here's another 5. We're not worthy of the great. Hey, Michael, it's been a pleasure meeting you and having you on the channel, man. And thank you so much. Congratulations. And thank you for the super chat as well. So we got a lot of great people in here. We got Harley. We got some great people. So listen, guys, I think it's time to kind of jump into it. This is me and Amanda's, we're not the biggest Doctor Strange fans, but after tonight's episode, I don't know, Doctor Strange is pretty dope. We got some Doctor Strange-centric conversations taking place tonight. One being that, I don't know if you guys heard, but this was just to kind of follow the timeline. This was maybe 2 weeks ago on Twitter where everything starts off. If you want to know what's going on, do yourself a favor and go on Twitter. You'll know it's the word on the street. But apparently Marvel, this is one of many rumors out there. Keep in mind, take this with a pinch of salt. None of this is confirmation or confirmed, but there was conversations about Hugh Jackman. And we all know Hugh Jackman has been kind of flirting around the idea of like, I'm retired, but hey, if there's a right story, we'll see what happens. But there was a rumor out there that Marvel came to him, Kevin Feige came to him, and they wanted him back for Doctor Strange 2, which, we'll see what comes out in March. But my question for Amanda and Chris and everyone watching this in the live chat and the replay, if you had a choice to have a huge cameo, now knowing that he's not going to come back, it's going to be kind of a one-off type of situation. He's not going to really even be in the movie that much. But if you had a choice here, if you were to get one choice between seeing Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in Doctor Strange 2, or would you like to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in a Deadpool 3? Starting with you, Amanda.
Deadpool 3.
Deadpool 3, do you have to think about it?
Didn't even have to think about it. Deadpool 3. They've been setting that up. There's so many Hugh Jackman jokes that Ryan Reynolds still does, like to today on Twitter. And like, it's impossible. Like, why wouldn't I want Deadpool 3? Like, Multiverse of Madness is going to be stacked. So I think like if they shove Hugh Jackman in there, I don't think it's the right vibe, as much as I would love him to make a cameo, but if it has to be. it's going to be Deadpool 3 for sure.
Yeah, like I said, Amanda was like, I didn't even have to think about it. That is her choice. Chris, man, is there a little bit more thought on your end? Is it kind of a toss a turn for you if you had a choice to see Hugh Jackman in this role again?
Yeah, I mean, it's Deadpool 3, but it's not like that quick of an answer. But I mean, I think it would be dope with Deadpool. I mean, with Strange. Either way, I would need it. Like either way, I want it more than probably like a lot of these cameos that we hear about. So yeah, it would just be dope. I mean, the banter between Logan and Deadpool would be crazy hilarious. Fire.
Yeah.
We've seen it with Colossus, and nobody even cared about Colossus, and we liked it. So it's like it's going to be crazy with Logan. So yeah, I vote for Deadpool, but it's sad that we probably won't get either.
Yeah, I mean, who knows, man? I mean, listen, I remember being like in high school and middle school, and just, when the comic book realm was just kind of, at its infant stages, and the word around town was we will never, ever, ever, ever see X-Men in the MCU, right? When Iron Man and all of them came out, it was like Fox would never give them the rights. And fast forward to, 2020 or whenever they did the acquisition, and now that comes to be Spider-Man was never going to be in the MCU. That came to be. Yeah. Listen, if you gave him a truck full of money, and you say, hey, man, we're not asking you to do the 90 million workout routines. We just want you in the film for a couple of scenes and whatnot. I don't know why he wouldn't do it. It just, I don't know.
One thing is cool that I think about Hugh Jackman is that he's not one of these guys that's like, I'm past the character. I'm moving on. He seemed like he's like, okay, yeah. Like he's like, he never like shut the door on it, which I like. I like that energy because it's like some actors, they finish a character and they're like, no, it's played out. Like I've done my time with it. But I love how like he's into it. He's like been enjoying the character. So like, yeah, like you said, like we never thought we'd see Spider-Man. So I think there's always a chance. And I like that his mindset seems to be like open-minded about it. I just don't think logistically, in time-wise, we'll see that. But like, I love the fact that his interviews and like how he talks about it, it's like open-minded. I'm here for it.
That's so true. So I remember when Daniel Craig, and I know he's coming back for his final time, but I remember when the Spectre came out and he was like, I'll rather slit my wrist and come back to the role. And fast forward, 7 years later, he's back.
See how crazy he looks? This is a tangent, but Kyrie Irving. That's what people wonder, right? People like Kyrie Irving, you idiot. You left Boston. You go in front of the Boston fans. He's like, I'll be here until you guys don't want me no more. Exactly. Then he's like, all right, I'm out. And then that people are mad about it. Like, you don't say these things.
Exactly. And I guess to answer my own question too, which one would I rather see him in? I think I totally agree with you all. Deadpool, because it would just be all these years of him and Ryan Reynolds have been joking about it. We obviously know, I don't even want to bring this film up, but X-Men Origins, that was not what we needed to see for the first time, Deadpool and Wolverine on the screen. So hopefully they can redeem themselves if this was come to fruition, which I think, I don't know if you guys, I know Amanda's seen Free Guy. Chris, have you seen Free Guy? Okay, well, I don't want to spoil anything. I'll just say if he was able to get people involved in that movie, then I would, I would say that he could maybe talk his way into getting Hugh Jackman to his film for a couple seasons too. Yeah. But let us know in the chat, guys, if you would like to see Mr. Hugh Jackman reprise his role as Wolverine in a Deadpool 3 film or a Doctor Strange 2 film in the future. Let us know in the chat. But again, this is one of many conversations about Doctor Strange, because this is what tonight's about. It's all about Mr. Stephen Strange, which brings us to this second story. So again, word around town, there's conversations again on the wonderful Twitter about people. I believe the gentleman's name is Daniel XPX. He's a scooper. He's an internet scooper. He drops scoops on Twitter all the time, and they're pretty much most of his scoops come to be true. But it was a tweet sent out to him and saying, "Hey Daniel, I love the Doctor Strange versus Thanos fight. It's one of the best. Can we expect any future fights of that caliber in the future?" And he just drops a bomb on Twitter and say, "Hey, if you think that's cool, wait till you see Doctor Strange 2, where we're going to see Wanda square off against a X-Men character." And then things kind of led from that conversation to out of nowhere, this brand new scooper on the scene who broke his very first article, which is interesting within itself. This gentleman comes out a few days later and says, "Hey, that conversation that was had on Twitter the other day about Wanda going off against an X-Men character? Well, that character is no other than," and again, this is all rumors, ladies and gentlemen. This hasn't been confirmed, but apparently the rumor is that this gentleman on screen, James McAvoy, or for a little bit it was like they didn't know if it was James McAvoy or Patrick Stewart, but they now are believing that character that will be facing off against Wanda Maximoff will be James McAvoy as Professor X. Again, guys, this is a rumor. No, this isn't factual confirmation, but Amanda, your thoughts on this rumor out there that Mr. X-Men himself, Professor X will be facing off against Wanda and Doctor Strange too.
See, I thought he was coming in WandaVision.
Oh, yeah, Magneto and the whole damn X-Men was coming. Yeah,
I don't believe. No, I'm joking. I would love to see James McAvoy in the role again. I think it's kind of done with Sir Patrick Stewart, but Days of Future Past is still top tier CBM in my eyes. They had such fantastic moments. Yeah. And James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender carried the prequel, except for Apocalypse. We don't talk about that one.
Amanda, say it again. They carried that franchise on their back.
They did. And they didn't phone it in.
Apocalypse, just to be clear.
I'm sorry. They kind of ruined Oscar Isaac, but it's okay. It's fine. We don't want to talk about it, but it's fine. But I would love to see James McAvoy back. I think he deserves another chance, but if anyone had to come back, I would give it to James McAvoy, as much as I would love to have Michael Fassbender be that person in Multiverse of Madness. Just because of the connection. Yep. I think there's a stronger connection with Magneto, obviously, than Professor X, but I understand the Professor X angle as well. But either or, I am set. I'm ready to go. I need more mutants in the MCU ASAP. So
I hear you. And I mean, Chris, tossing to you, man. I mean, when we saw WandaVision, we thought that was going to be the show that kind of kicks off the multiverse, but it's more of a isolated situation, right? Within that small town that she's in. We go to Falcon and Winter Soldier. Obviously, that really had nothing to do with the multiverse. But then we run into Loki and we meet variants and, Sylvie and everything that went on with the He Who Remains. And now, is this the gateway? I guess the question would be, are you okay with this idea of this is the introduction of X-Men from other universes coming into the main timeline, the 616, if you want to call it that, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Or do you want to see them start from scratch? No James McAvoy, no Fassbender, brand new characters, or bring them in from another universe?
No, I don't want to see them start from scratch. I want to see my guys from First Class, etc. I think they didn't get enough. Well, I didn't get enough of them, so I would need more. And I totally agree with Amanda, because number one, I don't want to see Professor X fight nobody. Last time he was getting killed by Jean Grey. The show was not cool, and I'm still dealing with that. And it makes so much more sense for her to be fighting Magneto because of the family ties. Right. But if I got to take this to see the X-Men and then the movie, I'll take it. Reading those articles, it looks like shooting's already done, but maybe they can add them in post credit or something, or if maybe it was there the whole time. I doubt it. They would be to keep that
hiding it.
Because remind me again. Sorry, is Strange next year?
March 25th, the same month as Batman, which is going to be a crazy
22?
month.
They're gonna move it. I will tell you right now, they're gonna move it, because there have been moves already, so I have a feeling they're going to move it.
I hope
Just
not.
saying.
I'm hoping not, because if we can get Batman and Doctor Strange in the same month,
that'd be the craziest month.
That'll be insane.
Legit.
I don't even know the last time we have seen a month like that. If that stays true. But yeah, I'm here for it. The X-Men is my favorite piece of Marvel content. Period. Hands down, it's not close. So whatever I can get them, especially with the guys I already know and love.
Yep.
It's like Drake said, no new friends. I don't want to see new people yet. This guy gave me a while. I'm not ready to let these guys go.
Yeah, I'm right there with Chris and Amanda. And like Amanda said, I literally think that if it wasn't for James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, I don't know if I would have been a fan of the stuff that we ended up, especially Apocalypse and what was the last one? Dark Phoenix, I think was the name of it. Which was
I actually enjoyed it.
I
did.
Shout out to you, Amanda.
Because I love the ending. I thought the ending was perfect for the two of them, but it was a struggle to get there, trust me. Yeah, but I think they tampered with it. That's a whole different conversation. But
Apocalypse is better than Dark Phoenix. I'll tell you that right now.
I think I have to agree. I have to agree. I haven't seen one of them.
Y'all act like Magneto didn't try to protect his child. And that scene didn't carry that
beginning. Yeah. I give you that scene, and also Quicksilver obviously has a much bigger role in that film than he did in Dark Phoenix. And Dark Phoenix. True. Jessica Chastain, they completely wasted her. What was she again? Were they supposed to be Skrulls? And they were just I don't know.
They were supposed to be Skrulls, but because Captain Marvel was coming out,
Just
they had
using them,
to
they couldn't.
pull it,
Yeah.
and that's why it was trash.
So glad
But
that
anyways.
nonsense of rights are done now. We can have all these characters under one umbrella. But no, like I said, James McAvoy. This might be a hot take.
Ooh.
I'm a James McAvoy Professor X fan more so than I am, and I love Patrick Stewart. He's an incredible actor. Obviously, Logan I think was his best performance as Professor X. But personally, James McAvoy is my Professor X, as well as
100%.
My man Fassbender is my Magneto, especially First Class when he's in that bar scene with those old knots. Listen, those two guys are like goats to me when it comes to those roles. Again, shout out to Patrick Stewart and Ian, but those two guys like destroyed those roles. And I think that they're at the perfect age to continue those legacies if they bring them back. But I'm a big fan of those two actors, and I would love to see both of them reappear in the MCU. I think that would just be perfect.
I can't even think of a better two people playing the younger versions of the old people, because they're all four fire. There's not one weak link. I cannot rank these people at all. Like those movies are heavy. The bars that OG Magneto drops,
the chess pieces that him in Charles,
so good. Fassbender literally listened to audio tapes of McKellen's voice from like Hamlet and his stage productions to get it. And man, when he said that, I'm like, you nailed it, because it's just perfection.
They're so great. I really do hope, if this rumor is to come true, if you have James McAvoy, I mean, I think Fassbender's right behind them in regards to that. Again, shout out to Jennifer Lawrence. I don't want her back as Mystique. Nicholas Hoult as Beast, he's good, but hey, just recap, especially Skalaxis, but what's my man name? Summers with the
Cyclops,
reclass, Ty Sheridan, you can recast him. Storm, you can recast her. Just give me back McAvoy and Fassbender. I'm good. But we'll see. The only thing I would say about this whole like bringing people from different multiverse, like wouldn't they want to, no pun intended, wouldn't they want to go back home and go back to their universe in regards to this picking them from different universes? But I don't know. Maybe the whole thing is there's a world destroyer out there that's destroying these worlds that brings them to this world. Maybe a Galactus type of character, but I don't know. We'll see. Again, there's so many theories out there and rumors out there that it just gets me excited, especially, like I said, me and Amanda were talking about it offline. We're not the biggest fan of the first Doctor Strange 2016, but this sequel is shaping up to be something pretty epic. And it seems like all these films moving forward, Eternals, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel 2, like these are, the whole thing of like people being upset about Avengers 5. We're getting Avenger type movies with all these solo outings. So the future's looking bright. It's looking bright. Any last words, Amanda, before we move on to Doctor Strange's episode in regards to Hugh Jackman, Professor X, and any other cameos or characters you want to see make their way into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness?
Honestly, those are the two. And as long as we get a good Jean Grey, I think we're set for the future. If we're going to bring them in, I really want a good Jean Grey, a solid actress to do it. Maybe even someone who's up and coming. I wouldn't know who to cast right now.
Grow with the character,
I think it would be great to recast her entirely so she can grow with the other two. And I think it'd be great. So I'm just excited to see what happens.
I'm right there with you. And I know people probably want to see all the X-Men on the big screen for the first time, but if I were Disney, if I were Kevin Feige, I'm using Disney Plus as a great intro to introduce some of these X-Men and have like an X-Men school type of TV show and build these characters up and then bring them to the big screen. But
that'd be amazing.
We'll see. Chris, man, any theories or thoughts or any characters? Would you want to see Loki in this film? Which I think they said Tom Hiddleston was going to come back as Loki in Doctor Strange 2. Which this movie is just like who isn't in the movie at this point? But is there anyone that you would particularly like to see make their debut or come back in Doctor Strange's film?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the McAvoy thing, that's huge news. I didn't hear that until today, unless it came out today or recently, but I didn't hear that. I'm all about that. I'd also like to recall Apocalypse again. This is my last word on Apocalypse because Magneto goes to his job because those dudes snitched.
They did.
And he's gonna kill them all. And Apocalypse pulls up with his goons, and Magneto thinks that he's trying to stop him, and he's like, no. Melt these dudes just to show like I'm for real. And then There's moments in that movie. I just want to say
there are some moments, man. There are some moments. There, like they carried the film. They carried the franchise, but they definitely carried that film because they got messy with that franchise, unfortunately. But
I know.
So they got that from the Bible, or maybe the Bible got it from them.
There you go. bars. But yeah, I'm telling you guys, we're getting our Disney Investor Day in December. Was it December, I think, or maybe November? I think it's November. I think we're gonna get a little bit more information about Doctor Strange 2. We got American Chavez. I forgot she's like an important character in this film. Obviously, Wanda, we know she's gonna be a co-lead. But we'll see, man. And Sam Raimi's directing this film. I would love to see a neighborhood Spider-Man make his way, and not art Spider-Man, but maybe Tobey Maguire make his way into that film. Who knows, man? This film has to be like 4 hours. So if we're getting all this stuff, all these characters in that
at this point,
I would take it, which is crazy because again,
the post-credit scene, like Professor X. Like I don't.
I don't mind that either. To be
because the movie's already stacked, and if it's already done filming, throw him in for the post-credit. That's a top. Maybe that's the best post-credit scene. Definitely top 3.
That would like blow the dude. I could imagine just sitting there taking in hopefully a really good film, and then you end with a Professor X in the wheelchair coming to get Wanda or whatever.
I'd cry. I'd actually cry.
He's here.
I would lose my mind. Equivalent to Far From Home with JJ. Literally, I'd just lose my mind.
That would be insane. Listen, guys, let us know in the chat if you're watching this on the replay, excitement level, anticipation level, theories, thoughts, predictions for a Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness. But that is one chapter closed on Doctor Strange. We got another one here. We got an episode to talk about with today's episode of Doctor Strange. What if he lost his heart versus his hands? And I'm just going to say it now. I think this is the best episode so far. And that's that discounting episode 3, 2, or 1. I just think from a story perspective, from a character I really don't care for, to see this journey and this descent into madness that he went through, and then the visuals and then the world building. And then also this lays the foundation for the future of this series, but Spider-Man and also his film, this duality, this conversation at hand in regards to seeing our heroes. We saw it in WandaVision. What our heroes are willing to do to get their loved ones back or to recapture the love they lost. And it just goes to show you how human these characters are. So this episode is fantastic. Amanda, your initial thoughts after finishing this 4th episode of Mr. Doctor Strange?
Well, I'm right there with you. I love that this show is building all of these layers to these different characters, either like they're big or small, secondary characters, whatever you want to say. They're building so much more that can be pushed into the MCU as a whole on, the big screen. So I love that they're doing that. I'm not a fan of Doctor Strange. I think that this episode was better than the entirety of a standalone movie, to be perfectly honest. I'm being straight. Like, I could not sit there. And the reason why is because I did not connect emotionally with his story. So in this particular episode, he has a heart. And it is Christine, and we see that. And I think that is the connection that was lacking in the standalone. I loved him in Infinity War. I loved him in all the other cameos that he showed up in. Yep. But that's the thing, is that I wasn't emotionally connected to his story the same way that we would be connected to Tony Stark right off the bat. There was a connection there with his standalone, and that's why he's such a massive figure, right? So now moving forward, especially with this episode, it makes me want to see more of Strange and what he's capable of, the height of his powers, and that he's going to be so integral moving forward. And that's what this episode did, which is like mind-blowing to me, because I didn't think I would love him even more than, I did after Infinity War.
Amanda, I couldn't have said it better myself. You are speaking facts. Yes, I watched, I didn't finish. I'm going to finish it tonight. I watched like half of Doctor Strange last night just because I don't really revisit that film. We talked about it like a couple weeks ago. It's like 16, 17 to me. I don't hate the film. And I know, Chris, you can defend it here in a second, my friend. But it's just like, I'm totally with Amanda. I never felt that relationship between him and Christine. The chemistry felt off between the two actors. And then just the visuals are great. The world building, Inception type stuff. But I was just like, this film is just kind of lacking for me. But I totally agree with you, man. This had heart. This had emotions, and seeing that side of Strange just was much more, digestible than it was in this film. But hey, that's just us, Chris, man. Defend your. I know you. I know it's not your favorite film, but I know you like Doctor Strange film. But your thoughts on this episode, man? Did it make you love him even more?
Well, to be clear, I don't love Doctor Strange the movie.
Gotcha.
Before it came out, I didn't even want to see it. I just didn't care. I was like, same thing with to me. Like, it's not as good as Guardians, of course. Yeah, I walked into Guardians like, okay, I don't care about this. This movie is fire. I walked into Strange. I don't care about this. Oh wow, not bad. Yeah. So I was like, okay, it's just better than I thought it would be. It's not no apocalypse or nothing like that. Let's not get crazy. Just kidding. It's better than Apocalypse. But yeah, I didn't leave this episode loving it, and I also I watched it like late, like 5 o'clock tonight, like 5 p.m. Eastern. So it's like I didn't have the time to digest it or go back and rewatch it. It was just like, this is a lot. And I was like, the whole time I kept thinking, I was like, okay, I understand what's happening here, but is this dude really gonna go that crazy for this girl when the Ancient One told him stop fucking around? And in the movie, we know that he's addicted to her. So I'm like, what's happening? When did he start falling in love with this thing for him to mess up the whole universe, literally, for this woman? It's not his child. It's not his parent. It's just like a girl that he likes. And I don't even think they were married. So I was like, I was like, he's doing all this for this girl, and I'm like, and I got it. I'm like, we've seen it in other kind of movies of trying to fix this one mistake to get, and then it's like no matter what you do, kind of Final Destination-y. But there's other movies that are more close to this, and I was just like, I see what's happening here. Right. But then it gets to the Sorcerer Supreme, and at the end, I was like, I understand that this episode will have a lot of implications, but I ended it being like, okay, that's a lot.
It was, to Amanda's point, to your point, it's very cinematic. This could be its own individual movie, which I'm surprised I remember the creator saying that there was an idea that they wanted to do for Guardians, but they didn't do it because it was so close to Guardians 3. So this to me has a lot of movie script, character development, and more so. But I want to find the quote because you mentioned the love that he had for her, and it was I think the character name was O'Bane, and it was a fire quote. I wrote it down. I gotta find it in my notes here when he tells her.
While you look for that though, while you look for that, was it McAdams? Because it sounded like
it was her.
Okay. That's why I was like, oh wow,
I was so happy.
I was so thrilled that they put her in.
Thank God.
Because I think this episode must have the most, I guess, voices.
Yeah, Tilda Swinton and Patch Wong.
Yeah, almost full
whole cast pretty much. Here's a quote. So O'Bane says to him, this is the answer to your question about that love, man. Is she worth the pain? And he's sitting there in his bed and he says, and O'Bane says to him, love can make you not only break your heart, but can shatter your mind. So that love that Doctor Strange has for him, I just took it as equivalent to the love that he had for his, his hands in the movie, right? And stroke his ego. But I just thought that Christina in this version, in this world, man, she was his everything. She was his, Pepper Potts, if you want to do it, or, Peggy Carter. It was that love he had for her. Yeah, they weren't married, and we obviously didn't spend all that time with them, but you could see the passion that he had for her. And yes, to me, I'm not, destroying the world for like he did. But I mean, and this is what I like about Doctor Strange. He has all these abilities, the Sorcerer Supreme, this, that, and the other, but he's still a human being at the end of the day. And as we see in the MCU, that's what make these characters so interesting. They're flawed, man. He's willing to sacrifice the world, Peter Quill style in Infinity War, with getting Thanos out of that position that he was. I know a lot of people still are tripping on that, but that's what makes these characters interesting, man. They're human, just like us, man. But it is pretty crazy to see him go through the lengths that he went through to save the love of his life. But any things you want to add to that, Amanda, regarding the love and everything this man went through to resurrect his love of his life?
I feel like we've all been at that point where we would like to bring back a loved one. So again, that kind of emotional connection. I didn't think of it it's just this girl that he's in love with. It hit differently for me because we all have been there where we want to bring our loved ones back. And if the universe was different, if there was magic capable to do that, we all thought of that. So I think it just hit that way. And then for me, it's especially in that timeline, if we go to Peter Parker, for example, and I said this in my review today, it's like Uncle Ben was the reason he became Spider-Man and pushed him forward, and that love was there. So we needed that kind of development, as the Ancient One says, these are moments that need to happen in certain timelines. So I think that it's always going to be a part of a hero's story, but it was really, really nice to see that connection to Doctor Strange in this one out of love.
I totally agree. And to that point too, with Chris saying that, you know, going to the lengths, it would have been better if in the movie, if we would have saw that love on screen, because we didn't get that. Honestly, we did not get that at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because like, if this episode, of course, the episode has to have, you know, time stone elements. But if this episode was Spider-Man trying to bring back Uncle Ben, we'd be like, okay, got it. If it was Iron Man trying to like save Pepper Potts, got it.
You're right.
Wanda, Vision, like we'd be like, got it. So like for me, it's like I have to pretend that I knew that he realized. Like, and I really haven't gone back to Strange, which maybe it is boring if I go back.
Come to our side. No,
but the last what I remember of Strange, the movie, I was like, he's kind of just he's not nice to this girl. This woman loves him, and he's just a dick. He just wants to work hard and do that and be good at his job. So I was just like, wait, what? Because like even in the episode, they didn't even give us like any background. They just him picking her up. So it's like. I'm surprised he even gave her a ride. I was at that point. I was like, "Oh, I see what's happening here."
And
so but I meant is like that's 100% right. I was like, "Damn, I just don't get how we got here. Like this could have been any other."
You're right.
Story of the Marvel thing.
It's a very good point, man. And even in the first episode with Peggy Carter and Steve, right? We know that relationship. Seeing that, we kind of know where the love comes from. T'Challa, I mean, there wasn't a love interest or anything, but we know that he misses home. He's Wakandan, you know, his family's Chaka and all that stuff. Exactly. So I can see where you're coming from, man. That definitely and again, not to hearken because I know there's people that love Doctor Strange, but that was one of my flaws with Doctor Strange is like that I don't even know why Christine was in the film because she literally watching it last night, as you mentioned, Chris, and I think this episode plays to in that movie, he invites her to the speaking engagement, but she says no. And then obviously he goes by himself. But I think in this alternate universe, she says yes. And that was kind of picking up off of that. But yeah, man, if we could have gotten a little bit of that love in the movie for us to see it in the episode, like, oh, yes, this is Christine. We know Christine. He loves her. He would do anything to her. But we never got that. So I totally, hopefully in the sequel, which I don't even know how they would throw that in there, how they're going to make her come back in there.
She'll be living with him and then he won't pay attention to her because like, honey, I got to go save the world.
Exactly.
So I was like, that's going to happen.
But that's a big callback though, because like, I didn't rewatch Doctor Strange, so I don't remember that part.
Exactly.
So like that, when you just said that, I was like, that makes more sense. So then even if it's like this episode starts with maybe Doctor Strange getting an urgent page, hey doctor, we need you, and he's like, sorry, I'm busy. I'm with they'd be like, oh wait,
like wife,
he's not a workaholic anymore.
Yeah.
That would have helped. Just a little trigger would have, but that makes a lot of sense.
No,
I agree, man. I agree. And again, hopefully we'll get more of and this is one season of 2 and many more. Maybe they'll give us a spinoff of Doctor Strange and Christine, some love story or some game show story. We see Rock of Love, how they fell in love, and we can appreciate them a little bit more. But before we move on, I do want to shout out, I missed this a little bit earlier, but quick shout out to Harley with the super chat, with the congratulations, enjoy the content, made me start. Oh, that's awesome. Start your own channel. You sent me a link to your channel, by the way, and if you're able to, because I don't know if the chat allows you, put your link of your channel in the live stream for everyone can check it out. So definitely show her some love and check out her YouTube channel. The 3 of you guys are inspirations for the rest of us. Can't wait to grow more. Thank you so much. Again, congratulations to you starting that channel. That's the first step. You got to put your, the first foot in front of the other, start the channel, put the content out there and keep moving forward. But thank you so much, Harley, for super chat.
I did go to her channel actually last week or the other day, and I checked out her first video. So let's keep it up.
Keep it up. Yes. But, moving forward to getting into the thick of things in this conversation with tonight's episode, we open the episode, which, by the way, I guess you kind of forgot it in my review, mentioning how much the Watcher was involved in this episode. Like, he was heavily involved to the point that he wanted to, like, intervene with the situation at hand. I'm like, oh.
He wanted to throw hands.
Yeah, bro. He's like, stop it. God damn it. It's like us watching, like, could you imagine us watching a movie and, like, how we watch movies, like, don't go in the room, don't do that. The Watcher's like wants to go into the screen, like, Doctor Strange, stop doing what you're doing. So this is opening up the door to seeing him, intervene. And I don't know that much about the Watcher comic book related, but if he steps into the situation, does that break reality? Does that I don't know what that means. So for him to even have the conversation that he did, I think that is going to probably set up a ripple effect of maybe a world destroying situation. But, as Chris alluded to, we open up the episode with them and lovey-dovey. Everything's looking good for Stephen Strange and Christine. They're about to go to this speaking engagement. We get essentially the same situation with the film there, but we see that she obviously gets in the car and they're having the conversation. Everything's going good. And let me know, starting with you, Amanda, and this might have been me, but when I was watching an episode, we'll obviously get to the Groundhog Day, her continuously dying, but when he dodged the first car and the car hit him from behind, I'm thinking that someone's like intentionally doing this to them,
right?
Or to put him on the path to being the darker version of the character. So I don't, maybe that's something we can look forward to in the future. But were you in the same thought process? Like, there's someone like trying to kill her to get him to become a character.
No, I'm with you there. And like, the more that it was happening, I'm like, okay, but like, who's doing this? Because like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, he dodged that person a couple of times, or however like the situation was, and like they kept coming, and it's just like, that doesn't make any sense. So hopefully, maybe if there's like another Strange episode, they'll do that. There's another thing with this episode, and again, it comes with the emotional connection. The repetitiveness in the movie, the standalone, bothered me to no end, but like, it's because I just didn't care. Oh God, that last, I was dying. I'm like, can this end? Like, it's the worst time loop of my life. But it's because I didn't care. And like, it looks horrible in my opinion. But in this case, it's like we wanted to find out more about why this is happening. So again, that emotional connection, I didn't care about the groundhog moment that you said, as much, because I wanted to see. But yeah, the car hitting them, I was like, who is this? Why aren't they showing their face? Like, is it the ancient one, like low key behind the wheel? Like, who knows? Right?
That would be funny, him giving him revenge for what he did to him in Thor Ragnarok. I've been falling for 30 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Oh God. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna remember that because I think in the trailers, and I think they've announced that we'll be seeing this version of Doctor Strange in the future. Awesome. So I wonder if there was a killer on the loose. Chris, were you thinking the same thing, man, that there was someone intentionally? Because again, that was, to Amanda's point, that was very horror movie-ish. That was like, what was it, Happy Death Day, where we see that the man, first off, when he went back the first time, I'm like, why would you go in the car and do the exact same thing that you did? Like, no, we're staying in tonight, honey. But, they do that, and then they still have the accident. She doesn't, they go to the dance, but she has a heart attack, I think, on the dance floor. He doesn't pick her up. She goes to the diner. She, gets shot. They get robbed. And then the building explodes. I'm like, dude, there is a killer on the loose trying to kill her. What were you thinking on that, man? Is there a killer out there that we should be looking forward to in the future?
No, I thought the same exact thing. That's my doorbell, you know the drill. But I thought the same exact thing until we kept seeing the different loops of like how many different ways she's gonna die. And then I saw the diner guy, and I was like, okay, this explains that this is all random, the Final Destination stuff. But I was like, because it wasn't intentional, then they shouldn't have made it look like be animated that way. But I was convinced. I was like, oh, they're gonna explain this later, that this person is trying to make sure that this happens. But I thought the same exact thing. Then I was like, look, if it's me and I go back the first time, we staying right at that dance, and we're taking an Uber, and we're taking local streets.
I don't know what. Again, I think his idea was like him knowing the information he knows about the Time Stone to not tamper with a lot of stuff, like try to slightly change things, but not dramatically change things. But that eventually he was like, no, we're not going. But it still spoke to, I think the ancient one called it the absolute point, that it was like destined to happen, because if it doesn't happen, you're not going to become Doctor Strange. So. Really, really interesting stuff there, and really interesting the way that they wrote that. But, we see the events play out. Obviously, she dies, and she had her funeral. We see the first film play out, Doctor Strange being warned by the Ancient One and Wong not to, tamper with time. We see him, Amanda's favorite scene, where he does his Dormammu come to bargain, which it did get pretty annoying. I mean, we've never seen anything like that. I'll give you this props that we've never seen a third act of a superhero movie kind of play out in that way. But it was pretty weird and pretty annoying at the same time. But we see that. But then this is where, again, Amanda, I think you touched on it. If we had the ability of Doctor Strange to have this time stone and to go back and to say, and knowing that we can do it, right? And him being the confident person that he is, knowing that he can do it and bring her back, it comes to his mind, especially just thinking of anniversaries. When someone passed away, we have it in our mind, and that day we kind of, state to ourselves, we might not do the same thing that we do on a normal basis. So he's, this is the 2-year anniversary of Christine dies, and he has the conversation. Wong comes to him, say, "Hey, Strange," which, by the way, I'm loving that goatee by Wong. He's looking very stylish there. And shout out to Benedict Wong, man. He's been, obviously
holding it down.
He's been holding it down, man. I'm glad that they have a great actor that loves the role that he's in, and hopefully we get more Wong in the future, because he's just been coming in and killing it. But they have the conversation. It's Strange doesn't do the thing that we thought he would do and making a good decision. He goes and meddles with time. And again, we touched on it, him continuously seeing her die over and over, and just thinking how dark that is. Seeing the person you love die over and over and over again. What could that do to a person? Well, we see what it does to him, and him going down that dark path and that dark side, if you want to call it that. But Amanda, again, just going back to you in regards to what makes Doctor Strange so unique is having these abilities and having this choice at hand, making it, obviously we'll talk about him not making a choice, but him deciding to do that. Does it explain, not to go too far off course, but, Spider-Man trailer, and when we see Peter Parker ask him to do that favor, and he says yes, and everyone's coming up with the theories of Mephisto and this, that, and the other. But this shows you that Doctor Strange sometimes makes bad decisions because he's human at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, he's messy, but he also loves mess. So, like, if you have that, it's kind of hard to navigate certain situations, right?
Yeah.
So he's all powerful, and honestly, if I was in his position, I probably would have done the same thing, to be honest.
I think so.
So just to see him go to, the lengths that he went for Christine, like, that shows his drive and how big of a character, and how, like, he has shoes to fill, to be perfectly honest. And I think that he's capable of doing that with his powers in this case. So it's just really interesting to see. This whole episode was just so interesting, just to see both sides of him, and we got to see that. And he's something. Strange is something.
He's a strange individual, some may say. But and same question for you, Chris, in regards to, again, obviously we talked about the trailer can show you one thing in Spider-Man, but everyone was just like, that's not Doctor Strange. He's being strange. It doesn't seem like the right character. But this episode, to me, and also just seeing his arrogance in his film, and obviously seeing him in the Avengers films, this is Doctor Strange. He makes these type of irrational decisions. I mean, you don't become number one, neo whatever science, or not scientist, but doctor that he's surgeon. You don't do that just by playing by the rules. You got to break the rules sometimes, right? You got to crack some omelets to make an egg. So I mean, I think this just kind of shows you the flaws of the characters, that sometimes he makes decisions based on the emotions like human beings do. So your thoughts on Mr. Strange making that decision, man?
No, I thought the same thing about the Spider-Man trailer, and I was like, oh, okay, are they just trying to like let us understand the fact that this dude is not perfect? Because they spent so much time in Infinity War and Endgame, where it's like this dude, like, you know, Iron Man tells him, all right, let's just put this one in the garbage disposal or whatever, flush it down the toilet or whatever, and he's like, no, we're not doing that, bro. So it's like he spends so much time protecting this thing and doing the right thing. Like, this is the way it's supposed to be. This is the way it's supposed to be. So I think we put him on this pedestal of like, man, this dude, like, you don't fuck around. Yeah. So I was like, this episode I thought was like, okay, they're trying to show like he's a wild boy. Like he'll wild out if he needs to, or if he feels the need. So I thought the same exact thing, just like you mentioned.
It's so true. And again, going back to even Infinity War, he told Tony Stark, if it was between you and the boy, I'm picking the stone. Obviously, he changed on that. But again, like you said, because he is that kind of that character that if it comes to it, he's going to make the right decision. But again, we see in this case that decision wasn't, the right one in regards to how it ultimately plays out. But as we kind of move forward and we get, one of many great cameos in this episode from the original film, Doctor Strange goes back and has this conversation with the Ancient One, which was a really interesting conversation. Again, seeing her character in the mix and having that conversation was very interesting. But again, Mr. Strange, his ego gets in front of him as she tells him, this is an absolute point. You can't do erase time because you won't become the person you did. And they're talking about time loops and paradoxes. I'm like, dude, this, like I said, this is a Disney Plus animated show messing with my head. It's crazy, man. It's got to go to show you that they're not playing around with this MCU TV shows. They're giving you just as much in-depth stuff as they do in the films. But ultimately, his ego gets the best of him. He escapes the situation. He makes his way to this jungle to find this sorcerer. And this is where he comes across O'Bane, who is essentially the Wong of the librarian of the situation. And he's looking for answers. He's looking for this ancient book to bring back his Christine. And again, the visuals, I want to see this in live action. If we can make this happen, Disney, if we can go to this ancient land that seems just to be so beautiful. But nonetheless, we see it kind of play out. He makes his way he gets the book. And again, by the way, is it just me, or for a hot second did you think this was Mordor? I thought this was Chid's.
I did too. Yeah.
Like he was like, this is an alternate version of him, and O'Bane, which shout out to O'Bane. I would love to see that character in a live action, because he was dropping, like I said, Chris was talking about bars earlier. This man was spitting facts and a lot of the quotes that he had there. But we see O'Bane tells him and all, where he can find this information. But, kicking it to you, Amanda, here, just this kind of breakdown of these scenes that we see play out with him having this confrontation with, the Ancient One, and him ultimately defining her and escaping her and going to this dimension here.
I think my favorite scene was between Strange and the Ancient One, just because there was so much bloody information. Yeah. But taking in those tidbits, that helps us understand the multiverse. It helps us understand the difference of the timelines and all those characters and what they need to do in those timelines. So I think that in context of the episode, we don't really think much of it. But then if we're looking at the grand scale of the MCU and what the Ancient One was trying to say, it's so freaking important. And I think that's what's so special about that scene, is because it's just planting the seeds for what's to come. So I think that's one of my favorite scenes of the episode. And it was great to see another land, as you said, about the animation. I think this was the most polished episode, because that's what it felt like to me. Even Stephen Strange, his face and his emotions and all of that, they really came through. Mm-hmm. So I really love what they did with this. And this episode was just great all around. So
I think even the creators said, I think that they mentioned the press junkets, that this was this is the episode. This is the groundbreaking type of episode that they really enjoyed. So it speaks to it, because it looked, like you said, looks gorgeous. But yeah, man, Chris, talking to you, man. And I think to Amanda's point in regards to the Ancient One, I know there was the obviously controversy that Kevin Feige addressed, which shout out to him to addressing the fact that they put, a white woman into a role that should have been played by, an Asian actor. But I think this is opening the door to seeing her again in the future. And who knows if they'll, give her a different appearance or whatnot. But I think this is showing us, again, planting the foundations for future films, that this is a way to bring back an Ancient One. She can have these, almost Jedi moments of Yoda talking to Luke Skywalker and Last Jedi, that she can have these Force Ghost moments. But your thoughts on this sequence of scenes here with the Ancient One returning, Doctor Strange going to this mystical land to find these answers to bring back his loved one?
Yeah, I actually love this part of the episode. I like seeing the Ancient One. I love my poetry, so anytime I can get that wisdom, I take notes. My one nitpick of the episode, well, I have a couple, I guess, but my one nitpick of the episode, and I do love the animation of this whole series, it's been crazy, but I didn't love the Ancient One, and I don't know what it was, and I thought if it was just me, but you've been showing the pictures, and I'm it felt like it was just lacking. I was did they just forget to finish it? That's I kept thinking that the whole time. I was why they did my doll like this? Look at this. Don't it look crazy? It's missing something? I was
she looks almost younger. I don't know. Is
a little younger?
The power of animation.
Yeah,
a little more
pull up a picture of her and play it
like Mulan with no hair or something like that. This looks very 90s Disney. Yeah. Leo feel me. Leo in the chat, he feel me. But besides that, that's a nitpick. It's not important to the story, and I like this part of the episode, so I'm gonna say that.
Let me see. Let's see. Here's Miss Winton here playing the Ancient One, and let's pull up the.
Look at that drip, though. That's crazy.
Man, she looks a little bit younger. I think she looks a little bit younger there.
It looks just pulled it up a bit, the cheekbones.
But like I said, I think that the biggest thing, as this article brings up, the whitewashing of the character.
Yeah.
I think that this is a way that this is how Doctor Strange might have a conversation with the Ancient One in his film when, ultimately he's going against whatever demons or Wanda and figuring things out, that we could probably expect to see another cameo by the actress in the future. But as we move forward, we get a return character. This is a character that we saw in episode 1 of this show, and this creature makes its return. Now, this isn't the same creature in regards to what we saw in episode 1, because that's obviously a different world, but he summons this creature whose name is slipping me at the mind. Garth, or was it Garth? What was it, Amanda?
I said it was Starro as a joke, but it's not.
Yeah, Starro, making his way his DC crossover here. But no, this creature, like I said, it appeared in episode 1 of this show, and then it's apparently maybe going to be a character that we can expect to see in the future of his film. But he tries to bargain with this creature, and it doesn't work like it did with Dormammu. He doesn't let Strange take the source from him, as we learned from the scene before, that he has to take these, take their powers to in order to, which, by the way, speaking of powers, I think this is a great segue to, again, laying the foundation of, in the live action MCU, there's a character running around out there that doesn't like sorcerers, Mordor, and he is taking powers from these sorcerers. So I think this is like Marvel giving us the little seeds of, like, don't forget about, the villain of the first, or the good guy turned bad guy in that film. I think this is kind of setting that stage, but nonetheless, we get the hint of, again, this was a co-starring of the Watcher, as he's in the background, and Strange, he senses his presence. He says in the room, "Hello, who's out there?" And again, I'm thinking that this is going to be something to look forward to. He's going to inevitably interfere, and it's not going to be a good thing. But as we kind of move past the episode, Doctor Strange is beaten up, but he's not defeated. He goes back and gets the powers. He wants to start off smaller this time, which I thought was kind of funny, that it was a gnome that came out of this portal, like evil little Chucky doll coming out of the portal. But he takes his energy, takes a cape from a bug, and all these different demons and all this. Again, this is Disney Plus, ladies and gentlemen, and we're seeing him summon demons from this portal from, I don't know, hell. I was just, and I know people at home were probably waiting for Mephisto to come out of one of those portals.
No,
I can't wait until we get Mephisto in the MCU, for we can just wild out and see the character come to fruition.
They're gonna treat him like Iron Man 2 or 3.
Oh, a Trevor situation.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
and be a fake Mephisto.
Just because we did all this, they're gonna
Probably.
do it. All right, we got y'all.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Marvels, they're the ultimate trolls sometimes, man. They definitely are.
The
but
Mandarin.
There's a movie coming out soon that I'll just leave it at that. We see Doctor Strange taking on this being, and again, this is the seeds being planted by him becoming the evil version. So, Amanda, tossing it to you first, seeing Mr. Strange, and also, I want to go back to that quote that old Bane told him on his deathbed about, pain and suffering. Is she worth it? Breaking hearts and shattering. Again, the writing was fantastic. But your thoughts on Mr. Strange taking the source, the power of these demonic entities?
So first off, he looks amazing. I'm going to keep talking about this animation because it was fire. The transitions, the imagery, just great work all around. Second, if the Watcher had to step in for anybody, it would have definitely been Doctor Strange. So I'm really happy that his presence was felt, that he, we had more dialogue from him. And we needed to see that. We needed to understand what the Watcher actually does and what he could do and all of that. So I'm really happy that they had that in this episode with Doctor Strange. I forgot what I was going to say now. I personally think that the animation is the only way that they could have summoned all of those creatures, just because it'd be like hella expensive for CGI and special effects, and all that. So I think that this is the best way to do it. So yeah, I love that we got a darker version of Strange, and it's another layer of the character that we love to see. So he looks wicked. That's all that matters at this point. But yeah, I'm loving the steps that they took for his development in this episode, for sure.
Well said. And Chris, man, same question for you, man. These sequences of scenes here, just seeing Strange, which again, to me, him taking the essence and the power, absorbing these beings' power, I think is definitely a way of us, as an audience, understanding what Mordor is going to be doing. And the next time we see him, and who knows, next time we see him, he could be doing exactly the same thing, and he's going to be this super powered being with all these sorcerer supreme powers inside of him. But your thoughts on this sequence, man, of him just summoning these demons and taking their powers and ultimately becoming, the evil Doctor Strange?
Yeah, I was like, she told you to not do this. I kept thinking, I was like, why doesn't he listen? She's so wise. But like Amanda said, like the animation was fire though, and I was like, all right, this is good. I guess they're just gonna violate the ancient one. It's just one sacrifice. But I was like, let's see. And I was like, at this point, I was like, this is a lot already. Like, this is all in 30 minutes, and then it's like we didn't even get to the Strange versus Strange yet. It was a lot,
right?
Packed. It was a packed.
Doesn't my man look like Jafar from Aladdin?
Hey, maybe that's where they got the influence from on this episode here. But yeah, man, like you said, I totally agree with you, Chris. Man, this episode just felt so cinematic in a sense. And nothing against the other ones. The other ones were fantastic too, but it just felt like I was watching a movie. And how everything like shaped out and developed and all that. And again, the animation definitely helped that as well. I think some people were mentioning in the chat about the librarian being Mordor. No, the librarian was O'Bane. Yeah, different character. I thought it was at first, but it is a different character who I hope would, again, I hope that some of these characters make their way into live action, because I think O'Bane seems like a pretty cool character. But we'll see what the future holds for those characters. But moving on, after Doctor Strange has become his evil version, we cut back in time and we see the same scenario play out, but we see Doctor Strange doesn't meddle with time, and he decides to just go on about his business. But then he gets a visit by the Ancient One, and I thought that this was just like, again, Chris mentioned it earlier, just like how much was going on in this episode. My brain was exploding when she said that she was able to project him and make him into two different strangers in the same universe. Like, what? Who? What? This is Disney. I'm not supposed to be. My brain is supposed to just be watching these cartoons, but this is like hidden on so many levels and just making you. The intellect in this episode was fantastic. But she lays out, which again, I hate to keep bringing it up because I don't think it's a coincidence that we saw the Spider-Man trailer last week and we get this episode this week, because again, there's a quote in the trailer where Doctor Strange tells Peter that he is like being two people, right? That he can't be, Peter Parker and be Spider-Man, but I think that might speak to something else, like in the universe that you can't be hopping around these multiverses potentially, but this might plant a seed of how like there might be different versions of, Peter Parker or, Tobey Maguire or whatever the case may be, that there's two of the same people in the same universe, which I don't know, man. This is just, my head's hurting just saying that. But we see she tells him this information, and we see the world is slowly but surely kind of being absorbed by this dark dimensions that the evil Doctor Strange has been pulling from. And again, the visuals and everything that's going on. We finally get, as Chris alluded to, Strange versus Strange, which is just was pretty dope, to say the least. Amanda, your thoughts on, again, the reveal of what the Ancient One was doing and splitting him up into two different paths and two different versions in the same universe. And obviously, we'll talk about the showdown. But before we get to the showdown, your thoughts on leading up to the showdown.
Did we know this was possible? No. I was watching and I'm like, okay, all right then. This is what else we got to deal with. I'm already struggling with variants. Yeah. I don't need the same person.
You gotta have a degree to watch these films, man, and science and life.
They needed like a whole program in university for this stuff. My mind is blown. I don't know anymore. It's cool that they can have two different versions of someone and split them. I don't know if they're gonna carry that over. Maybe in like phase 10 we can start dealing with that, but I'm pretty sure. Why not? Let's just put Mephisto in there. The birth of Mephisto. I love this, but I was shook. I still don't understand it. I'm just going with it.
Chris, man, how was your? I know you said you watched it about a couple hours ago, man. What was your mindset and Doctor Strange and seeing the Ancient One saying that she split them up and there's two different paths, and she came back to warn. Like, come on, man, this is comic book at its finest. By the way, this is like, the stuff might be strange, but this is what comics do. They get weird and get crazy.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys because we're family now, but I dozed off for a second in this episode just because this is that post-work nap. When I woke up, it was Doctor Strange fighting Doctor Strange. I hit that rewind button so quick. I said, "Wait, what?" And then I rewind and I find out like what happened. I was like, I guess. Like, let's see what happens. But then I was like, that's the Doctor Strange I know and love. This guy got his head on straight, was trying to do the right thing, and it's just like
good choices.
But then it's like it's a good moment when he finds out like this is what became of this guy trying to save her over and over. He's like, oh, he tried to save her, he tried to change. Well, yeah, he's like, yeah. Like you can see in his face, he wanted to be like, yeah, it was tough, but like that's not how life works. That's not how things are. Like everybody's not, to last forever. Yeah. Well, like my man Vision said, I think it's beautiful because it lasts. But I was like, damn, this is the Strange that we need, and then he gets cooked. But
he gets cooked. But this Doctor Strange is, as we all know, especially in the world of Star Wars, you can be the Darth Vader of the world and conquer universes and empires. But at the end of the day, he made the right choice. So who knows? He might make a switch after seeing what he literally, and we'll get to that point, destroys the universe. But quick shout out to, again, another super chat from Harley. Thank you so much, Harley. As she mentions the Watcher. We'll get to that here in a second, but it's so true. The Watcher was done. Like, dude, what are you doing, bro? What are you out there doing on these streets, destroying the world, doing all this chaos magic and all this stuff? Then he was like, he forgot that. Very true. And again, and again, thank you, Harley, for the super chat. But let's get to that scene as we see Strange on Strange action here, which was Infinity War times 10. I mean, seeing the battle of these, which, by the way, and Amanda, I'm hoping that the sequel of Doctor Strange 2 lives up to the expectations. But I want to see Doctor Strange going against other sorcerers, because based on this fighting sequence here, seeing Strange using the powers and him using his powers, which, the word around town that Wanda might be the villain of the film, seeing Wanda versus Doctor Strange, them using their powers and all that would be fire on an IMAX screen coming March 25th, which I hope that date sticks. But seeing him going against himself, literally, the quote, your worst enemy, literally is fighting his darker version of himself. But we see the sequences play out. He gets tricked for a hot second by the evil Doctor Strange, taking him to a fake world of Christine, but Doctor Strange knows it's not his Christine. We ultimately see that the darker version of Strange gets the best of him. He takes his soul, his essence, and now he's gonna do what he set out to do, which he's been waiting centuries for, by the way, which just shows you the determination of this Doctor Strange. Which, shout out to the cinematography of this shot here. When she came out and just the blue light and the score, I'm not even a big Doctor Strange score fan, but that score was hidden. I think it's Michael Giacchino who scores Doctor Strange film. For some reason, that score hit me. I'm like, dude, this is when I'm like, this is on another level here. And we ultimately see it play out that, she is terrified of Doctor Strange, this Frankenstein monster that he's created himself. And ultimately, the Watcher does step in, as Harley alluded to earlier, like, what are you doing, man? You got to stop it. And he's like, well, you're a god, you can help me. He's like, no, I'm not a god, and I'm not going to intervene. And, this is the
neither are you.
And exactly. And this is the consequences of your actions. Christine dies in his hands yet again, and we see this moment here play out, and ultimately the universe around them becomes a small little isolated situation. He's by himself, lost in a void. End of this episode. Amanda, just that last 5-7 minutes, wherever you want to go with it, take that and let us know your thoughts on this last sequence of the show.
That fight, as you said, was fantastic.
So great.
And I just want to see more of it. Just because the first Doctor Strange movie wasn't the best, I would love to see more of him at the height of his power. That is my issue even with Captain Marvel as an origin film. Doctor Strange and Captain Marvel have incredible powers. Let me see them have their powers already and know what to do with them. I understand the whole origin story angle. I get it. But they are people that have incredible power sets, and I would love to just see them at their the height of it. So it sucks that we have a slow buildup, but this stuff right here, visually incredible. I can imagine how beautiful it would be on the big screen. But it was emotional. I guess they developed Christine and Strange's story quite well in this episode to actually feel something at the end of this. Right. I think it ended off in a great way, a very strong way. We have plenty of information, and that's
tons of
the
information.
good part.
I mean, I'm so there with you, Amanda. When we see Doctor Strange at this point in his next film, he would have been the Sorcerer Supreme for, I think, 2 years. Obviously, he was gone for 5 years from the events of Infinity War, and now we're going to see him like a year later. So he should be like literally, super supreme powers to the next level to, do these things. And that was what I mentioned about this. What if we get like much better characters on this animated show than we get in the live action? So I hope it doesn't work out that way when we see Doctor Strange again and he's like turned down to like a level 1. So I'm hoping that this show is just like letting us, like giving us an appetizer, like, oh, this is the appetizer, but when you see them again on the films, it's going to be that times 10. Fingers crossed on that. But Chris, man, your thoughts on this final sequence of strange on strange action, blue people coming to life, and then ultimately he sees what he's been warned about the whole episode. He literally destroys the universe because of his arrogance and his love. So
I was the only one that thought that was Nebula for a second. All right, okay.
Yo. Don't kill me.
I was like, then they got my boo back. They brought my blue back.
Cha-cha.
No, I thought like the fight was crazy. The animation was crazy on that, and then for the acting for
great point.
The acting for Strange to play both roles and just crush it. It's got to be fun for an actor, for a performer, and just it's good for the fans to see a different side of it. And I was just like, so I was like, oh, this is episode 4 and the universe is exploded. All right, cool, got it. Let's see what happens next week. And it makes sense. Is why they gave y'all 1 through 3. I was like, because 4 y'all would have been like, all right, okay, this is the end. This is it. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens next week or how they bring this back. Yeah,
man. And shout out to this is a good point too. Matt brought up in the chat, and we talk about all the time. What's the stakes? What's the consequences? And the fact that we didn't get this happy-go-lucky, he saved the world, gets the girl. No, the world ends, and he doesn't get the girl. And again, like Matt says, not to tamper with time. So. Again, I think this episode not only is a great episode within the story, isolated story that we get here and also in the series, but I think this really does give us just like foreshadowing of a Spider-Man No Way Home, and as well as the Doctor Strange films. Like you got to make these tough decisions, and that's what makes these heroes great. So
our last line from Christine to just, what did you do? Like looking at the actual Strange, like, and then it went out. I was like, okay, that's a strong little ending.
And I hope, man, again, I hope this doesn't tease us for, we see this development of Christine and Doctor Strange. And then when we see them in the film, it's just like, well, what? How is a cartoon for 30 minutes better, chemistry? And these are the same actors too, by the way. But I hope that we get, again, I don't know how Christine's going to play a role or Rachel Adams, what role she's going to play in the film, because there's Wanda, there's America Chavez, there's X-Men, there's all this stuff. So there's Illuminati apparently going to make an appearance in this film. So I don't know, man. This film, like I said, Sam Raimi has a lot on his hands, and I hope it's a 4-hour film, to be honest with you, because I'm really excited for that. But Amanda, just final thoughts on this episode. What you would hope, how, I guess, in the capacity of this character, do you hope to see him again in the future? And also, if there was 1 or 2 things from this episode that you would like to see be applied to the live action, what sequences or characters or anything like that would you like to see come into a live action form?
These are good questions. I think that we need to see just more of Strange and who he is as a person. I don't think we've gotten that. I think we've just gotten this persona of Doctor Strange and not of Stephen Strange. And like Infinity War and all of those films, the cameos, it's Doctor Strange. So he's putting up a front, I think, especially in Infinity War, because he was meeting everybody and it was more like business. He was acting professional. So I think just seeing like a softer side of him, like, and more personal, something like that. I think that's what I would love to see applied in the future for Doctor Strange. More fight scenes. Like Moni said, the cape on cape fight was absolutely wicked. I love his cape, so I think that they need to just incorporate more fight scenes, more, just inventive ones, because his powers are absolutely incredible. So I think that we really need to see more of that, and they can just take it straight from the comics. Like, we need to see more. So those are the two things I think moving forward for Doctor Strange.
I totally agree. We need to see these fights. We need to see if it's Strange or Wanda, Strange Mordor, Strange and whoever has these other sorcerer type abilities, because it just goes to show you again, when you see these powers, it's just like, this is really cool to see on a big screen too, and the Sam Raimi directing it. That would be pretty awesome. But tossing it to you, Chris, man, your overall thoughts on the episode. Does it get you excited for Doctor Strange 2? And then again, same question to Amanda that I asked in regards to if there were some elements from this episode that you would like to see come and make its way into the live action.
Yeah, this episode didn't get me more excited for Doctor Strange, but the articles before about the possible X-Men got me more excited for Doctor Strange. I was already excited to see it based on the Wanda and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
my views of the episode, I didn't love it like how you guys liked it, but I can appreciate it more hearing your opinions on it. Of course, now that you explained it, so I see the allure of it. It might still end up as my fourth favorite of all the four, but I'm interested. In the end, we'll do all 10 ranked to see. But I mean, again, it just shows you like I enjoyed the episode, and this is my least favorite. The show's just doing well. Like, they haven't really missed yet. Like, this episode to me was a lot. This episode was like, my stupid comparisons. This episode was like Donda. Like, Donda is like, is it good? It's a lot. Like, I don't even know what to feel about it yet. It's a lot. So that's how I feel. And then things that I want to see, I guess, to your point, like just like a better layers of Doctor Strange. Like, we're too good at, we're seeing him this boring guy, and this shows different sides of him, different what he's able to do. And then I think we'll get a little preview of that in Spider-Man. So should be cool.
Fingers crossed, man. Because again, this it might be a hot take in regards to my MCU thoughts, but personally for me, Iron Man and his individual films is fine. Robert Downey Jr., he kills it. He's having a good time in the role. But for me personally, Iron Man, Tony Stark, to me, was a more developed character in the Avengers films, as well as, I know Amanda's favorite, is Civil War.
Yeah,
I thought that, and again, I know he had the PTSD and Iron Man 3, and he's dealing with the alcoholism in 2. But I just thought that him dealing with the Age of Ultron, creating Ultron in that film, and obviously the stuff that he's going through with Infinity War and the pressure he has to save the world, and seeing Thanos, the guy that gave him the PTSD, and then obviously Endgame. I just think that he had much, and then also Civil War. I just think I like Tony Stark playing with others more so than I do with him individually. And the same thing is about Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, his solo film, like we talked about, Amanda, I just didn't feel the character. But Doctor Strange in Infinity War, I'm like, this dude is dope.
I love him.
Not like this in his film. And I'm hoping now that when we see him in a sequel, he's going to have more, like Chris said and Amanda said, the emotion, the depth, he's charming. He has the charisma. Again, I know they're trying to make him a Tony Stark-ish type of character, but I just want him to have his own lane and hopefully hold his own. And the same thing, I think Amanda said it earlier, same thing, Brie Larson, incredible actress, but I did not really care for her character in her solo film and thought she was kind of cooler in the Avengers film. So again, these team-ups have to bring out the best of these characters in their solo films. So I'm hoping that that's the case in Doctor Strange 2, and I hope he doesn't get outshined in his own sequel, because again, Wanda, Professor X potentially, Illuminati, Wolverine. This is going to be a loaded film. But like Amanda said, I hope that they give us hints of this new Doctor Strange in Spider-Man No Way Home. So we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see. But a lot to digest. Like I said, I'm going to rewatch it again, man. But for me, this is my favorite episode, just from like I said, just the depth, the emotion, feeling more for, and I think I like it more so just because I like
your opinion
this. Yeah, that's exactly this character and the development I prefer more than the movies, which speaks a lot. A $200 or $100 million live action 2-hour film, and like Amanda said earlier, I'm getting more from these characters in 30 minutes. So I think that's why it just completely changed. Well, not completely changed, but it just made me appreciate the character more so than his individual film. Amanda, do you have anything to add to New Strange?
No, you said it basically. It's the fact that I think it has to deal with the writing for the standalones, because they have to stretch it and then they have to add so many different characters. Whereas this particular half-an-hour episode, we are dealing with the character development and the layers for this one character. Yep. So I think that's the big difference here. And obviously it's a hit or a miss, but I do think that the team up films, they are literally playing off of the other characters as well. So I think that's the big difference in regards to writing for the characters and why there's so much fun in the team up films versus their standalones, unfortunately. So for Doctor Strange, I just really know that Benedict Cumberbatch is going to shine in the future because he's this big ass character coming in and he's so important. So I think he's going to shine.
I agree. Chris, man, any thoughts on that, man? And again, I don't know if it was a hot take. I'm trying to read the comments. Did you all feel the same way as my sentiments as Tony Stark? Again, I know people love Iron Man and his films, but I think Iron Man is so much better when he plays with the Avengers. But it might just be me, Chris. What was your thoughts on that? And of course, your thoughts on this new Strange and hoping that we get more of this in the future.
To me, it's kind of this. You're gonna be like, this dude is an idiot.
I love it. Let's hear it, man.
To me, it's kind of like Ludacris, the artist.
I love when he just comes up with this stuff, man. I love
Ludacris, the rapper on his own. It's like we don't love like his solo albums, but we love a feature, and beyond a feature, we love a DJ Khaled album because he throw everybody on the track and the track go crazy because it's 5 different artists. You're like, damn, this shit fire. And that's how I feel about these movies: Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. Like that's what I want to see with these movies. Individual movies, build a little development, character development. Get to know the character, get to know the nuances, bring them together for the blockbusters, and that's exactly how DJ Khaled does it, and that's exactly how Marvel wins because that's why Spider-Man's going to be crazy, that's why Strange is going to be crazy, because it's not enough. It's like Doctor Strange 2, like it's not enough to have Doctor Strange on his own. We've seen that.
Such a great point, dude. And I think, and going back to what we said at the beginning, I think all these films moving forward is going to be team up films. Because I'm not saying that they don't have the weight to carry their own, but I think when you see a Doctor Strange bounce off of a Wanda, you see Spider-Man bounce off of Tony, and we know a lot of us want to see Spider-Man individually, but I think in Marvel's eyes, and especially being a comic book fan, you always wonder yourself, wait, why didn't so-and-so help them out in this situation? Where was blah, blah, blah during this situation? So I think moving forward, we're going to see at least 2 to 3 cameos, co-stars in these movies. Again, we see it with Spider-Man, we see it with Doctor Strange, we're seeing it with the Marvels. I can't think of another. The Eternals is a whole team. So I think all these movies moving forward, Shang-Chi is an exception to that rule because it really is his film, but with a couple secondary characters, but it was really him, the main star. But I think moving forward, all these movies will be mini Avengers films, which I don't know if that's the conversation within itself. Is that a good thing or a bad thing moving forward? There's going to be these team up movies.
I think it's good.
Yeah. What about you, Amanda?
It depends on.
This goes back to the Civil War conversation.
Exactly. So it depends on the character. Me personally, I think that No Way Home having like this storyline for Peter Parker is way too early because Tom Holland has been overshadowed in 2 movies now. In Hoko, it was literally Iron Man, and then in Far From Home, it was Mysterio that really overpowered him, I think, personally. So it was just the fact that like you have these powerful characters coming in, and I don't feel like Tom Holland is like, this is gonna be a hot take, has been developed enough as Peter Parker to get this gigantic. I don't think that's a
hot take at all, Amanda. I think you're so on. Yeah, for me, yeah.
Sometimes like I'll say it and they're like, what are you talking about? It's perfect. It's his 3rd movie. I'm like, no. Did you watch the other 2? Like it's not time yet for any of this. So I think that when it comes to these team up films, it has to be the characters that have like they've established their own character within the MCU, and like I still don't think that Tom Holland's Peter Parker is there. So awkward.
I am right there with you, and I think a perfect example of this is Thor. Thor had his individual films, and when did Thor get cool for everyone? When he was in Ragnarok, bouncing off of Hulk and Valkyrie and all that stuff, and then we see him in Endgame and Infinity War. So I think these, and to Chris's analogy with the movies, this is like J. Cole. I love J. Cole's albums, but I think J. Cole mixtape J. Cole is much better than J. Cole album J. Cole, and the same could be said, with Kendrick Lamar and all this stuff. So, you got to bring your A game, man, with these individual films. But I don't know if we're going to get that many individual solo movies moving forward. Chris, man, your thoughts? You said you would prefer to see these mashups of Captain Marvel bouncing off of another, Miss Marvel or Spectrum and all the future stuff. You like the idea of these team ups moving forward?
Yeah, I love the team ups, especially if we know the character already. Like Marvel, like she had her own movie, and it wasn't no real team up. It was just Fury, and then we saw it in the end game, where we're like, oh, okay, that's cooler, that's better. I get it. So it's
New
like in
hairstyle.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man. I think that they just didn't want to do another like origin. That's the reason why they just dropped him in Civil War. Like he was already there. So I think he kind of like missed his boat on that. Yeah. And I don't feel the same way about Iron Man overshadowing, but I felt like it was like, let me put Iron Man in this just in case. Like, it's like it's a little it's like a training wheel for like a kid that you could probably ride. Like if you just took these off.
Yeah, that's a whole separate conversation. But yeah, I feel you. I get what you're saying. I do.
Listen, and this is like a future thing, and I'm thinking about doing this, and I would love if you guys are obviously available. But I'm thinking leading up to No Way Home of doing like, because I used to do watch alongs last year. I'm thinking about doing like a watch along party like every weekend leading up to Spider-Man and kind of revisiting those films. But I'm totally with Amanda when it comes to just like Tom Holland. I love Tom Holland in the role. I think we get to see like the kid version and him dealing with being in high school and what comes with that. But he has been overshadowed. I really do think he has been overshadowed. Like I understand what Marvel is doing. Like we've never seen him in space fighting Thanos and Avenger.
Yeah.
But we're kind of losing the essence of what we're talking about Doctor Strange, but we're losing the essence of what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man. So this is like I said, it's a whole separate conversation. Again, I'm planning on doing like these little watch alongs to really dive deep into these Spider-Man films and leading up to it. But man, this was a fun conversation, guys. And this is why I love doing this every week with these two incredible people, because we nerd out, geek out, theories, predictions. The chat is always fire, dropping in some good tidbits as well. And I think I don't want to miss. I saw Leo. Shout out to Geekly Goods, guys. If you're not subscribed to Geekly Goods, you're missing out on some incredible reactions. He does his live streams with Amanda and other wonderful content creators, and just a great dude overall. So definitely show him some love. But thank you, Leo, for the super chat, man. Hope you're doing well. I know Spider-Man is your boy, and that's like Amanda said, that's a whole conversation in regards to Spider-Man and how the MCU's been treating him. But hey, guys, this has been so much fun. And like I said, we can nerd out for like hours talking about this stuff.
Sure.
But these fine folks have things to do, people to see, ships to drive, pizzas to eat for Amanda and all that stuff. So, hey, we're going to call it a night, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to hand it off to Amanda as far as any final thoughts, any movies you're looking forward to this weekend, any movies you want to recommend to people out there, and of course, where the fine folks can find you.
Yeah, of course. Well, this was always a blast. Thanks for a great night tonight, and the comments were great. They were so much fun. This conversation was great. So I'm watching Shang-Chi again on Friday, and my best friend actually just binged all 23 films over the pandemic because I forced her. So I said, "You're watching them. I'm gonna be your partner now. We're going to watch these Marvel films." So it's her first one in theaters. So I'm very honored to take her to go see Shang-Chi in IMAX. So I'm very excited. I didn't get a chance to watch in IMAX the first time I went, so I bought tickets like ASAP for Friday. That's the one I recommend, guys. Shang-Chi this weekend. If you feel safe enough to go to a theater, please go do so. It's such a great movie. So watch that. You guys can always find me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, and the rest of my links are down below. So yeah.
Yes. And to follow up, Amanda, yes, guys, if you feel safe, if you have the time, go support Shang-Chi, not only because again, seeing, the Asian culture being represented the way it is, and obviously supporting that, for we can get more of a representation on the big screen, but also too, hopefully with this being successful, which I think it will be successful, will lead to Eternals being only in theaters and not having the whole day in, day out thing. So we'll see what the future holds, but definitely, like Amanda said, go check out Shang-Chi. It's really cool. A lot of fun. I can't wait to Chris to see it and get his thoughts on it, which speaking of Chris, man, any final thoughts, any recommendations, things people should look forward to and all that fun stuff, my friend?
Yeah, for sure. I'm super excited to see Shang-Chi. I'm going tomorrow night. IMAX, of course. And what was I going to say about that? I think from what I'm hearing is AMC, at least here in New York, they're requiring vaccines now, so that's dope. I'm all about the mandates for vaccine proof and all that. So I've never felt bad about going back to the movies, especially since getting the vaccine and all that. So I'm excited to check that out. It looks like basically looking at the theaters, a lot of sales, a lot of not a lot of empty seats. So should be good, at least from the New York market, especially on that opening day. So hopefully it does well. I'm excited to see it. I'm pretty sure it'll be a good movie. It might not blow my mind, but I think it'll be a good movie. Besides that, this is random. Everything I say is random. If anybody got Hulu, you all have Hulu. We all have Hulu. There's a random movie called Spontaneous. If you're ever bored or you just need something to watch, it's called Spontaneous. It's on Hulu. Just watch that. On the description, it says it's a comedy horror. It's not a horror. It's not scary. But it's just a random little movie that I discovered. I don't even know how I found it, but it's a good movie called Spontaneous. So Shang-Chi in the theaters, Spontaneous on Hulu, Tait's Take on YouTube.
There you have it. And I think Spontaneous, I remember, it's at like the high school. It's like it's like not a musical, right? Or
no, it's not a musical.
I think I know what you're talking about. And I know I got to check it out.
When the kids start blowing up.
Yes. I heard really good things about that. You said it's good.
Yeah, and it came out like either 19 or 20. I forgot when it came out.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why did I?
Which has been? Yeah.
This is good. This is a good little movie.
Gotta check it out, man. I gotta check it out. Well, hey guys, you heard it here first. Check out Amanda, and she got her Shang-Chi review coming soon. Check out Tait's Take. He got some great content coming for you all pretty soon. And as far as other things that covering this week, I don't think besides Shang-Chi that's like the big release this weekend. But as far as TV goes, man, it is hard to keep up, man. We got a new show on. Speaking of Hulu. Only Murders in the Building, Steve Martin, Martin Short, Selena Gomez. It's a pretty interesting murder whodunit comedy show. We got C on Apple TV making its return last week, and episode 2 coming. I don't know if you guys are American Horror Story fans, but it's back. I am happy to say that American Horror Story season 10 is looking good so far, at least based on the first 2 episodes. So episode 3 will be coming out tomorrow. And and like Amanda and Chris said, show some love to Shang-Chi for we can get more of the characters to be seen on screen and obviously get more of these big blockbuster movies going to the theaters instead of for straight to streaming. So
last thing, this is complete nonsense, but I forgot to mention this. I'm really excited to see this. Next week starts the new, I forgot the series, but it's the Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky scandal. Like, how I did the OJ?
That's next week.
The same people that did the OJ.
Like American True Story,
American
something
True
like
Crime
that.
or something like that.
It says
American Crime Story, something like that. So that OJ one is fire. Have y'all seen the OJ?
Dude. Yeah,
right.
man.
So this one starts next week. I think was it FX, right?
Yep. Yep.
So look out for that.
Yeah,
maybe
man.
The 10th.
I think you're Sarah Paulson and I can't remember who they cast.
It's Jonah's sister from Booksmart.
Beanie
Feldstein.
Thank you. Yes, she looks like she's gonna kill the role, and Sarah Paulson. And like you said, dude, American True Crime. OJ was fire. The Versace one was fire.
Yep.
Those
American Crime Story. Yeah, she put
one
tall girl.
American Crime. Yep.
And Monica Lewinsky's like a producer on it. So
yeah. So we're going to get all the deets, all the little details and drama and all that stuff. All right, that's good. Shout out to that, Chris. Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting watch. And there's so much coming out this month. Morning show's coming back. Doom Patrol for my DC fans out there. And speaking of DC, we got DC Fandom next month. Can't wait. But listen, like I said, guys, we can nerd out all night. But I appreciate every single one of you all that tuned in. Show some love, thumbs up, share it. Left some great comments, the super chats that came through tonight. So appreciative, and it means a lot. So thank you guys for tuning in. Again, if you watch this the replay, Amanda's channel is in the link in the bio. Chris's channel in the link in the bio. Click that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of their awesome content. You will not be disappointed. So Amanda and Chris, I am excited to hear Chris's thoughts on Shang-Chi. We'll hear his thoughts next week, and hopefully episode 5 of What If is just as good, if not better than episode 4. So can't wait to talk to you guys about that next week. So you guys have been awesome. Hope everyone's staying safe out there, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.